We're kicking off today with WWE NXT as undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes made the most of his time at this week's show and even had a gift for one member of the Gold brand. Before that, Rhodes appeared in the ring to address his upcoming I Quit match title defense against AJ Styles at Clash at the Castle and was joined by Trick Williams. The NXT champion asked for Rhodes' advice on going from the hunter to being the hunted, and Cody Rhodes encouraged him to aim for new challenges after conquering one. Rhodes announced that Williams' next challenger would be determined in a 25-man battle royal next week, hinting at participation from all rosters, which spawned a small TNA chant. This was an okay segment but did not live up to the potential of Rhodes and Trick in the same ring, and could have easily been an announcement made by Ava or Mr. Stone. With Rhodes' attentions divided days ahead of his match in Glasgow, his appearance felt superfluous to NXT, a shame considering the popularity of the American Nightmare. It may have all been a fun way to pop a rating for NXT, but a clearer direction for this promo could have helped Trick develop more as a character. After facing his toughest challenge to date in Ethan Page at Battleground, Williams seemed far too relaxed, especially considering that he has no idea who will challenge him next. In a backstage segment, Jasmine Nix and Jayne were spotted backstage, and Rhodes walked up to the previously injured Jayne, who now wore a face mask. He then gifted her the iconic mask he used to wear during his undashing persona back in the early 2010s, bringing a major nostalgic moment back to WWE TV. What are your thoughts on Cody Rhodes gifting his undashing mask to Jayne on NXT? And what did you make of him on the show? Sound off in the comments. With Jordynne Grace's recent work in NXT, the wrestling world is buzzing at the possibility of more NXT TNA crossover, and it looks like that may indeed be happening soon. Fightful Select reports that talks within NXT have been optimistic about future TNA collaboration, with one name being brought up being reigning X Division champion Mustafa Ali. It's no secret that Shawn Michaels held Ali in high regard in NXT and had a North American title run planned before he was let go by WWE higher-ups last year. Insiders suggest that any potential return for Ali to NXT would need to align with his preferences, though specifics remain undisclosed as to what he thinks of all this. It's important to note that Ali isn't currently under contract with TNA, meaning any appearances would be free of NXT or TNA affiliation, but he'd likely still be acknowledged as a TNA talent. Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp has also revealed that WWE is open to using members of the Rascals, which is the group in TNA Wes Lee was once a part of. Lee, as Desmond Xavier, worked alongside Zachary Wentz, Trey Miguel, and Myron Reed, and we can't count out them as also being part of TNA's future plans alongside Mustafa Ali. Previously, Ali teased a crossover match with Cedric Alexander for the X Division title, and would you like to see this match, possibly in an NXT ring? Sound off in the comments below. With NXT Battleground in the rearview mirror, attention now turns towards TNA Against All Odds, where Jordynne Grace is throwing down an open challenge for her Knockouts title. According to Fightful Select, there is anticipation that a star from WWE will respond to Grace's challenge, and it's believed that the WWE TNA collab will extend beyond this weekend's event. WWE plans to increase talent exchanges between both companies as well, so we'll have to see who ends up challenging Grace for the Knockouts title at Against All Odds. Now, Jordynne Grace's role at NXT Battleground was obviously historic, but the match didn't go her way, as a distraction at ringside would ultimately cost her the chance to hold two titles. Speaking with Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, Grace discussed the match and shared a limitation that may have played a factor in her not beating Roxanne Perez. She said, "I do think it was a strong performance, but I feel like I can do better. I feel like the WWE Universe hasn't witnessed what I can do yet. Can't do any pile drivers, only certain people. They don't know me like that. I gotta get some more, credibility under my belt first before I start busting out trapped arm pile drivers, I don't know." While Grace lost her opportunity at NXT Battleground 2024, her returning for another WWE match soon wouldn't be a surprise, as she feels she has more to show the WWE Universe. With that said, it had been reported that last week's TNA Impact didn't see a big increase in viewers that some had expected given Grace on NXT, and now she's fired off a tweet. When TNA shared that Against All Odds is sold out, Grace sarcastically brought up how fans think the ratings meant TNA was doing poorly, but has since deleted this tweet. Grace clearly had second thoughts about bringing up TNA's ratings, as with the Knockouts champion poised for big things, the last thing she needs to do is bring trouble on herself. Would you like to see Jordynne Grace compete in a WWE ring again? And if so, who should she face? Let us know down in the comments. At NXT Battleground, rapper Sexyy Red was on hand to host the show, adding an extra layer of excitement, but it turns out this appearance came shortly after she was arrested. Yesterday, TMZ broke the story that Red had been arrested on the morning of June 8th at Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey due to being connected to a physical confrontation. The incident involved a confrontation between Red's group and another party. Footage obtained shows Red grabbing and waving a stanchion, although she did not physically engage in the fight. The Port Authority reports, "Still unclear what exactly led up to this brouhaha. Sexyy Red was ultimately arrested for disorderly conduct, while a couple others in the fight got booked on assault charges. As for the alleged victims, we're told they went to the hospital for minor injuries." Fightful Select reports that those in NXT and WWE were unaware of Red's arrest and do not expect it will prevent her from appearing on WWE programming going forward. As of last Sunday, there were plans for future NXT appearances, and while this arrest won't keep her from the show, it's hardly a good look for the popular performer. Right now, the future of Brock Lesnar in WWE remains uncertain due to being connected to Janelle Grant's lawsuit, but the Beast was recently spotted out of the ring. Lesnar was recently spotted in public with his daughter Maya, and the pair were accompanied by a group of people. And it remains to be seen when, if ever, Brock Lesnar competes for WWE again. Wendy Choo made her return to WWE NXT last night after weeks of video vignettes, but as these videos suggested, Choo has experienced a massive change in her character. Choo previously was known for her playful character who loved naps, wore pajamas and fluffy slippers for matches, and sipping from her thermos, but things are different now. On NXT, Choo showed a new level of aggression as she destroyed Brinley Reece and wore more gothic-themed PJs, complete with sinister makeup. Choo locked in a huge submission move to tap out Reece and assert her dominance upon her first night back as the well-rested superstar has gotten up on the wrong side of the bed. During the day of NXT Battleground, Ethan Page was asked for his thoughts ahead of his title match, only to be attacked by Meta-4's Oro Mensah. Mensah, alongside Noam Dar, had previously been attacked by Page, an attack that many had blamed Trick Williams for before the all-ego talent revealed he was the culprit. On this week's NXT, Page was ambushed by Mensah again after his main event match, and on Twitter, Ava said that after these attacks and a previous one on June 4th, she's taking action. Ava has fined Mensah, and while it's unclear how out of pocket he is, we'll have to see if this fine and ban from NXT gives the Meta-4 member time to reflect on his issues with Ethan Page. During NXT Battleground, a vignette aired which was followed by an announcement on Monday confirming that Eddy Thorpe would be making his official return on this week's NXT. For context, Thorpe's previous match for NXT was in December last year, where he defeated Dijak in NXT Underground, and a hip injury suffered during the fight has kept him on the shelf. Since March, however, Thorpe has been active on house shows and episodes of Level Up, preparing for his TV return, which finally happened on last night's show against Tyvon Heights. The action went back and forth with both competitors before Thorpe planted Heights' head into the mat to get the win and sending a message to the roster on his first night back. For the past month or so, Brooks Jensen has been at odds with WWE NXT management, so much so that he's even shared his booking information for independent shows. Jensen has been kicked out of multiple NXT shows in recent weeks, and tensions were high once again last night when he was kicked out of the arena yet again. This was due to an off-air confrontation with Booker T and Vic Joseph, but things didn't stop there, as it's reported Jensen tried to make his way in while meeting with the fans. Security were able to stop him again, but things didn't stop then, as he was able to break into the building and attacked Vic Joseph before being pulled back by security and taken away. As the wrestling community buzzes with theories, all eyes are now on Brooks Jensen and his unpredictable career trajectory, with the second-generation star creating plenty of intrigue. Back to Battleground, as during the women's title match, Tatum Paxley tried to steal Jordynne Grace's Knockouts title, and TNA's Ash, by Elegance, also tried to take the gold. According to PW Insider, Ash's involvement with the show was a last-minute addition, and the initial plan was supposed to only involve Tatum Paxley. However, the idea of incorporating another surprise element by adding Ash by Elegance emerged during the discussions, leading to her unexpected appearance. Ash wrestled for years as Dana Brooke and has said she hopes the NXT TNA collab grants her a spot in next year's Women's Royal Rumble, and that could indeed be possible in this new era. This week's NXT started with new Women's North American Champion Kalani Jordynne, who spoke about overcoming 5 other superstars at Battleground to make history. Jaida Parker interrupted, only to get attacked by Michin to start their match early, and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson came out later to watch Michin's back. Upon Michin's arrival, Vic Joseph said, "Say her name, she shall appear." This could be a deliberate reference to TNA star and potential WWE NXT appearee Joe Hendry. The pair stopped Parker from using a steel chair and would set up Parker to get rolled up for the 3, and it was smart to start with the biggest moment of the night from Battleground. Jordynne was the only new champion by the close of the premium live event and has the freshest title scene, and the transition to the first match of the night was seamless. Parker continues to improve with each match, especially in recent weeks, but she's still not ready to beat someone like Michin, making this a smart result. Parker was protected while the HBIC got a rare and needed victory, and the OC is finally working together in NXT to rise up the ranks. Overall, this was a smart use of 15 minutes that helped everyone involved. Michin vs. Parker should continue, as the 25-year-old newcomer can learn more from a 15-year veteran. The new Catch Republic were able to effectively eliminate Wolfgang and Mark Coffey in 6-man tag action, but Wesley rolled right into Joe Coffey's Best for the Bells to give Gallus the win. Due to NXT's partnership with TNA, the hope was that Lee would find help from his former stablemates the Rascals against Gallus, and the Brits were a less interesting option. That said, the action was unsurprisingly fun with these 6, and Tyler Bate remains one of WWE's most exciting stars to watch, while Dunn showed his NXT edge that is rarely shown on Raw. It was all-around good action that could not have been much better given that there was no obvious stake, and this was a win that Gallus needed. Hopefully NXT has a clear vision to keep that momentum going if this is going to be the top heel stable on the brand as recently teased, as right now, the faction struggles to get wins. More from WWE NXT now, as the Gold brand is currently home to a number of AEW alumni, but a current AEW name was also around at this week's show. Rebel hasn't been on AEW TV since 2022 and last wrestled for AEW in August of that year, but as a recent report confirmed, she is still under contract with the company. While Rebel hasn't been backstage at AEW shows during her absence, Fightful Select reports that she was at this week's NXT, but the reason for her being there is unknown. What we do know is that she has appeared multiple times at NXT events, leaving fans to wonder if she's just visiting friends or if there's something bigger in mind. In interviews, Rebel has expressed interest in returning to AEW TV if asked, but don't be surprised if her next appearance for Wrestling TV comes instead in WWE NXT. NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez apologized to Ava during her State of the Women's Division address before multiple superstars arrived to challenge the Prodigy. Jacy Jayne with Jasmine Nix, Lash Legend with Jakara Jackson, and Lola Vice all feel they deserve a title shot, and a brawl broke out that ended with Perez and Vice standing tall. Vice has clearly set her sights on the NXT Women's title, and with all the excitement of the night, putting Perez in the final segment seemingly promised something big. Instead of a confrontation with Jordynne Grace or possibly another TNA name though, this was a typical NXT Women's segment where people got their lines in before a brawl broke out. The key story of Perez and Ava did not even develop because she was forgotten in the wave of women that walked out, and this could have done much more had it happened mid-show. At the very least, it could have been a chance to establish Vice as a challenger on Perez's level, and that's before we mention the looming arrival of Julia that's certain to elevate this angle. On this week's Raw, Liv Morgan offered her hotel key card to Dominic Mysterio and asked her to pay him a visit, an idea Mysterio didn't immediately reject. Later in the show though, Mysterio found the card in his pocket and acted like he had no idea how it got there, and on this occasion, Dirty Dom was telling the truth. As seen in a backstage segment with the faction, it was actually Finn Balor who took the key card and slipped it into Dominic's pocket, as it seems Finn wants Dom to get close with Morgan. As for what Rhea Ripley will make of this, time will tell, but the ongoing saga of Dominic and Liv continues to have fans hooked each week on Raw. Last year, Viking Raider Erik underwent neck fusion surgery for his C6-C7 vertebrae, a surgery that has kept him out of the ring, at least until this week. On Twitter, Erik shared video of himself in a ring at the Performance Center, leaving fans believing a return may be soon, and we're continuing to send him the best on his recovery. When you see Braun Strowman on WWE TV, the former Universal Champion is all business and flattens his opponents, but that isn't quite the same Braun fans see on social media. On his Instagram, for example, Braun often shares his fun-loving real self, which may be popular with some fans, but The Undertaker isn't a fan. In a recent edition of his 6 Feet Under podcast, The Undertaker shared his discussions with Braun Strowman about how different his online presence is to his WWE persona. He explained, "I've talked to Braun Strowman several times, like, here you are, the monster among men, and then you look on your social media and you've got Daisy Duke shorts on, bunny ears, and you're hopping around. Love Braun, but you can't sometimes." The Undertaker famously kept kayfabe for decades before his final farewell in 2020, and we have to wonder how the dead man's legacy would be if he had had social media at the time. It's hard to imagine the Phenom tormenting souls on TV in the Attitude Era before sharing his favorite salad recipes online, and perhaps Braun should take a page from the Phenom's playbook. In a Singapore Cane match on NXT, Dante Chen attacked Lexis King during his entrance, but the King found an opening during the match and used his own cane to set up the coronation for the win. While the bar was low to start, this was easily the best match between King and Chen, and hopefully we'll continue to see Chen on TV as he's clearly been growing as a performer. Shawn Spears showed his veteran experience as he took on the exciting Javon Evans, and in the end it was the chairman who hit the C4 to get the win. Spears dictated the pace and built up the furious comeback of Evans near the end, and this was as good as either man has looked so far in NXT. And that was this week's NXT, and what did you make of the show? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for watching.